Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing an Ask Me Anything. This is feeling a little bit overdue just because I feel like I used to always do these on Instagram, on stories, and I don't know why I stopped. It's kind of time consuming is what it is, I think. Like, I want to be able to give like thoughtful answers to things and not really feel like constricted on like text limit. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to do it here because I'm talking with you guys. There's no time limit, although I don't want this to be like a super long video. But yeah, I'm excited to sit down with you guys. I've got my big comfy chair here. I'm in my office. I've got a shaken espresso, grab a drink, wine, coffee, tea, water, whatever feels right for whatever time of day it is. But let's get into it, shall we? Someone asked, favorite place for coffee in Marin. Now, if you know me and you see my weekend posts every weekend, I feel like you've probably seen me at Equator. They truly are the best. And we were getting Equator when we lived in the city because they were right there at Fort Mason. We lived in the marina, so it was just like an easy, as we were going on our Marina Green walk, we would hit Equator and then go down the green, maybe to Chrissy Field and the Presidio. So I love it. Like, I'm very picky about my coffee. I hate Starbucks. That is one thing about me. I will continue to shout that from the rooftops. I think Starbucks is disgusting, and maybe that's a strong opinion, but like the coffee's either burned or it doesn't taste good. Equator, you will never ever get a burnt tasting coffee. Like all of their seasonal drinks even, I'm not a big seasonal drink girly, like, and I will judge a place by its like black coffee because that's usually what I would get at Equator in the city. Was I would just go get their coffee and I would put a little oat milk in it. There's like no other place I can do that because I hate black coffee from places, and I truly feel like that is how you can judge a place. I love their black coffee, but I also love the seasonal autumn spice latte. I've put a few people onto it now. It's in the fall, even into the winter, I think. Like pretty recently they still had it. I think it's gone now, but it's like they use real pumpkin puree, and then I get it less sweet. So they just use less syrup, I guess. And I get it with oat milk. It is divine. It is like a pumpkin spice latte, I guess, but not, because it's kind of like autumn spice. So it has some other spices in there. And it just is the yummiest thing. Like that's my little weekend treat when I want to get something special. And even their matcha is pretty good. There aren't a lot of places I will get a matcha because I feel that no one can make it as good as I can make it. But I will get their matcha sometimes. And I like the matcha with almond milk, actually. That one's really good. We have 2 Equators near me. There's 2 in Mill Valley. I don't know how we got so lucky. Safe to say that was like a prerequisite for moving to Mill Valley because I would have been devastated if I couldn't get Equator anymore easily. So yeah, Equator. Next question here is NorCal your forever home? Absolutely. Truly, like, feel so lucky and grateful to have grown up here, and I love it. I say this all the time to my friends and I say it to Kaveh, but I don't think there's anywhere else in the country that I feel strongly about living in. If I moved, I say it all the time, I think it would be to Paris. I think that is a city where I could live and like love living. Because it kind of reminds you of like San Francisco. I don't know, you get your parks, you've got great shopping, good food, but that city life, you know, but it's not quite like New York. It feels slower. Like that's what I love about this area. We're still super close to the city, but I get my suburbs life, which truly for me is a dream. I know some people like think the suburbs are boring. I am a slow living girl, and I've realized that since moving. I just love being here. I love the space. I love being able to drive everywhere and not worry about where I'm parking. Like everything is so accessible. Before I met Kaveh, I never thought about moving to Marin. I really like where I'm from, which is Los Gatos. and my family is still down there. And while that's a great area too, I don't like that it's so far from the city. Like, I do really love San Francisco still, so being an hour away just didn't make sense. And in many ways, like, Mill Valley, Marin reminds me of that little pocket of the South Bay. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, like very similar to what I grew up in, but I'm near all the things that I care about. And I'm so much closer to like Sonoma and Napa, which is how I spend most of my weekends now. So no, I would never leave. This is definitely our forever home. We will raise our kids here. I love it. I love it. Do you ever find work from home lonely? So here's the deal. I do think it helps having a spouse or a partner or like a roommate who also works from home, because then you're not like truly alone. I feel like I would feel very different if it was just me working at home and like Kaveh went into the office. But since he's here and my dog's here, I don't really ever feel lonely. I do feel like more of a connection to my coworkers at my current company than my last. So I do have more of that like desire to see them every now and again, but I don't feel like there's any part of me that would want to be going to an office weekly, even if it was one day a week. I am an introvert and I love being home and I love my alone time. I'm not someone who like charges their battery by being around people. I do thankfully get to go and like socialize and I guess network through influencer events, which is really nice. And so getting to see people at those events almost feels work related, and I feel like it kind of checks that box for me of getting to see people and getting to socialize and do it in like a professional manner, because we're talking about the work that we do, and it is very nice to be able to connect with people who are doing the same thing as you. This question I feel like is kind of related, but how do you balance your social life living in the suburbs? To me, it feels honestly very similar to what I was doing in the city. When we decided to move out here, we definitely evaluated like how it was going to affect our social life. And it's a big reason why we still wanted to be so close to the city and not like further north in Marin. But we sat down and we were like, hey, how often, like on a weekly or monthly basis, are we seeing friends right now? And it was like not a lot. Like it didn't feel like not a lot, but it truly wasn't a lot. Like maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. Like me and Kaveh will do a lot, just us, on the weekends. So, you know, it wasn't like we don't do a lot during the week. I like my routine. I want to be in bed by like 8:30. So I don't do a lot of social things during the week. So really when we looked at it, we were like, okay, and are we comfortable going to the city once every 2 weeks, let's say? We're like, yeah. And so, you know, because we're so close, friends will come up here. We definitely have friends in Marin too, so we're not always like venturing to the city, but it really hasn't changed. It doesn't feel like it's changed. Like maybe the biggest change is I don't just bump into people on the street when I'm like on a walk or walking somewhere. But for the most part, like I don't feel like I'm seeing people any less. It's just, it's been very similar. I don't feel like our social life has taken a hit because we moved to the suburbs. Another question on balance. So someone asked, how do you balance corporate and influencer priorities? So this has been ever changing for me, it feels like. 2 jobs ago, I felt like I had so much free time. Like I could do that job with my eyes closed. I felt like it only took me a few hours to get like my work done, and then I would have like more free time to do content creation. The next job didn't give me like any free time to do content creation. So I went from like one end of the spectrum to the other. And now I feel like I'm in a really balanced place. And that's just me kind of making the time. I don't have a ton of free time at my current job, but one thing that I am investing in this year is a manager or representation. So that's very new for me. As of like a month ago, I did sign with management, and it's something that I've gone back and forth with a lot, and I could probably do a whole spiel on just this. Management has reached out to me, or agencies have reached out to me many times, and I just never felt like it was worth it for me, just because the admin stuff I've never really been bothered by. I'm like very good at admin work. I'm very type A, and I like having control over things. So I had no issue emailing brands, negotiating for myself, invoicing, taxes, like getting payment done. Like none of that was taking its toll on me, I guess. And that's usually one of the bigger reasons people do seek management. But that wasn't the thing for me. It was really like, because I don't have ample free time right now, I don't have the bandwidth to be like reaching out to brands and trying to source new deals. I was really only taking like what was coming to me, which was a good amount of stuff. But I found myself wanting more, and I just felt like a good manager will be able to go source deals on my behalf, do all that negotiation, take a good amount of stuff off my plate. I feel like because I haven't had to manage my inbox and do all of that back and forth, like I think it was taking up more time than I thought it was, and now I can just focus on the content creation. You know, prior to management, a lot of it is just comes down to being an organized type A person, but now I'm finding that that balance is even easier having brought in a manager. So she's great. Next question is, how do you stay so consistent with posting? I'm sad for the AMA. I see you, girl. It felt inconsistent for a while. I'll say for the past like few weeks, it's felt a little bit better, but I feel like it ebbs and flows. I feel like there are busy seasons and then there are not so busy seasons. And I think a lot of it is just comes back to being organized. Like I do spend time on Sunday trying to map out my content. I will batch it if I can, just set them up as like drafts in my phone so they're ready to go and ready to post, because I like to post in the mornings. I feel like that's like a better time to post. That can be hard with meetings. Like a lot of my days, like my meetings are all in the morning. So I don't have time to like sit there and like engage with you guys or engage with other people's posts, but I can at least very easily go in and like post it quickly. I've never really used a scheduler. That might be something that I get into and start playing with, just so it like really can go out automatically and I don't even have to open the app. But I'm trying to be less strict about like the time I post and just making sure I get something out so that it is consistent. Also, like milking the content, if that makes sense. So like if I'm going to a dinner, I might do a reel of the food. I might get photos of the food so I could include that in like a static carousel post. I might film an outfit video, like my look for the night. I might even do like a get ready with me with my makeup. And it's nice to just get all the content I can out of that one event. Kind of a quick one. What camera do you use? I'm looking to buy one. So I use the Canon G7X Mark III, I believe. I think it's the Mark III. I bought it right before it went like crazy and started costing like $1,200. I think I got mine for $600 or $700, whatever that base price was before it shot up. And I like it. I feel like vlogging with it is obviously different from using it for photos. So that is a battery suck. I think that's the only thing. I don't know that you would be looking for one to vlog with, but the battery does die quickly. So I am thinking like if I'm traveling or something, I need to get a spare battery pack, but it's great. I feel like, you know, I don't know a lot about cameras. I'm no expert, so it's pretty dummy proof. And I've had it for a couple years now, but it's it's great. I've had no issues with it. What are 3 beauty products that you can't live without? A hard one. I'm gonna approach this as if it's like I'm on a desert island and I can only have these 3. SPF, for sure. I mean, I have to think about the things I'm using on a daily basis that I truly feel incomplete without. So a good SPF. I'm always trying new ones. One that I've always loved and always come back to is the Isntree Hyaluronic Acid Watery Sun Gel. Best formula, glass skin, it's light. It has all the things you would want and need in an SPF. And then a good lip balm. I love the Ole Henriksen lip peptide treatment. There are a lot of brands. I don't like to speak poorly of brands, especially ones that are sent to me, because I just feel bad. But there are brands that you guys love and talk about all the time that just drive me the fuck out. Like the Ole Henriksen one is the only one that I can use that actually feels nourishing and hydrating, that I don't feel like I need to like constantly be reapplying. And then like I feel like it has to be a full body moisturizer, and I love the Uni body serum, the 24-hour body serum. If you guys haven't tried this yet, I need to put you on. It is one of the best. I just did it in my last month empties video. Smells incredible. The formula is light, so if you don't like a super heavy, greasy body lotion, you'll love this. And it's clean. I am obsessed with it. If you guys go to my Shop My, you can actually try it for a discount and your life will be forever changed. What are you most looking forward to in 2025? We have a lot of weddings this year and I'm actually so excited. I don't have wedding fatigue yet. I love going to weddings. I love dressing up. I love seeing people dress up, celebrating my friends. I love being around people. Like, it's so nice now to get together with like friends that don't live here anymore. Maybe like we've had a lot of people move around, so it always feels like a nice fun reunion at a wedding. So we have 6 or 7 weddings this year, which I think will be our busiest wedding year. Some we'll travel for. I think it's like half and half. They're not all destination weddings. We have our first coming up in May, and then we have one almost every month, it feels like, from then on. One of them will be in Portugal, which you'll also be there for. I'm so excited. That really worked out because we wanted to do Portugal this year as like our big international travel destination. So we're gonna make a trip out of that, do Lisbon, go to Mallorca for the back half, which I'm really excited about. My next question, timeline for kids. So I have been saying for a while now, I feel like 32 is my year, and I'm 29 right now. So I think we're still a few years away from that. And I still feel good about that timeline. Like, I do feel like I have more of a draw to the idea of kids. Like, if you asked me a year or 2 ago, I would have said, oh my God, am I never gonna want kids? Like, am I just that person who won't have kids? Because I felt no desire to have kids, honestly. But it's been growing on me and I'm warming up to the idea. I do feel like we could easily have one right now. Like, I feel like I could handle it. I just think there's a lot that we still want to do. We want to travel. Honestly, having Gigi as a very like anxious, needy girl has probably prepared us well for a child, because there are days when I tell Gabe, I'm like, I think having a kid will be easier than having Gigi, and we love her to death, but she has her quirks. So 2 to 3 years probably, which feels like not a lot of time. We have a lot of travel to do between now and then, let me tell you. Next question, kind of related. How did we find Gigi? She's the prettiest, I know. We actually, so I joined a Facebook group for Northern California dachshunds or something. So dachshund owners are in there. I think like some breeders were in there, but someone recommended my breeder to me, I believe. And when we found her, she was in Reno. So we got her at Great Basin Hounds in Reno. and I think the breeder has since moved, but she was great. Her name was Heather. She had like a farm in Reno. She raised the dachshund. She had golden retrievers that she was also breeding, and they had goats. It was like my dream. I'm like, can I move in? We were very happy with that breeder. We would get another dachshund from her. She's very particular about like the face shape of the dachshund. I don't know. I think this is very niche, but they can look a little bit different. I just loved the look of her dogs, and I'm so happy we went with her because I think Gigi is the cutest thing in the world. So this person asks, would love to hear from you if/how you budget and balance between spending and investing. So I'm gonna be real with you guys. I am very picky about what I spend my money on, and obviously I'm very fortunate to be in this field where I am sent a lot of stuff for free. So there's not a lot of spending that I do. But now I do feel like more of my expenses are home stuff. It's really easy to fall into that cycle of just like never being happy with what you have and always wanting the latest thing. So I just haven't been as drawn to like buying clothes that much lately. I feel like I definitely don't have a spending problem. I feel like that's because I grew up in a family where like my dad was very cheap, and I have had to work very hard to break out of the relationship with money that I've had as a result of being raised by that type of parent. I do feel like I'm in a healthy place with money. I don't feel like as guilty as I used to for spending, which is weird. I used to always feel like it was problematic to be spending or feel bad or have like buyer's remorse. Like no matter what it was that I bought, no matter how happy I was with it, I'm like, should I have spent that money or should I have saved it? So now I'm kind of like in a place where, okay, I've worked hard, I've saved, I've invested. You should enjoy your life. Kaveh even tells me, he's like, please spend money, which is crazy. He will tell me something. He's like, you need to spend, buy it. So he's even pushing me to do that. But since I got like a big girl job, always put money aside to investing. And I probably used to be better about it than I am now. Like when I worked at like DocuSign, they had stock program, they had ESPP, you'd get RSUs, and I was always putting money away to ESPP, and I was doing my 401k at the same time, so it just like automatically went out of the paycheck and I didn't even have to think about it. I love though investing in mutual funds, and I'm still very heavily invested in mutual funds. I feel like if you don't know what you're doing, you don't want to be like trading stocks, and you don't want something that's risky, mutual funds are great. Again, you don't have to think about it. Investing in the S&P 500, like those are all good things that I think you should be doing. I candidly have not been putting money away monthly to that, but I will do large lump sums, which I know probably isn't as good as putting it away monthly, but I just like to keep money sometimes. I think with all of our home expenses now and like the projects we want to do, I like having money in the bank. And then once I like really know I don't need it, then I'll put it away. So that's kind of what I've been doing recently, is like, okay, I'll just put a big chunk in, and I know that my expenses will always kind of be like in a certain range every month once I think about mortgage, bills, like all the necessities, groceries. And then there's like a little fluctuation if I spend like personally that month on clothes or home stuff or whatever, but still putting away for investing, 401k, whatever you want to do. My next purchase itch. I don't know actually. You know, there's not a lot like fashion wise I'm drawn to. I would say the next like big thing is a new watch. I've kind of ventured away from like handbags. I feel like handbags is one of those things where you can just feel like you're constantly chasing the new thing. I'm in like I like a mid-range bag. I don't know. I want something that not everyone has. I'm good spending like $1,000 or less. I don't need to like drop a lot of money on a handbag that, I don't know. I feel like I can get more mileage on a watch. That's my thought process. Is like I always wear the Rolex that I currently have. I love it, but it's kind of small. and I kind of want a bigger watch. I love this Serpenti watch, the one that looks like a snake. My 30th birthday is coming up, so I'm kind of manifesting a watch. My dream is an AP Royal Oak. That's what I'm manifesting on my vision board. I don't know, I feel like I have a ton of bags. I kind of have everything I need in the bag department, so a watch is the next thing. The last question. So what are your goals for 2025? I don't want to get into specifics. I know that's annoying, but I believe in the evil eye. And I don't like to speak of things before they happen, because then you welcome the evil eye. And I just don't. Every time I speak about something before it happens, I feel like it doesn't happen. Generally, one of the things I would say is delegating more. And I do feel like I've done that in signing with management. I can be a control freak, and so letting go of control a little bit there and trusting in someone else is a big leap for me. Hoping as that relationship continues that I'll start to see returns on that and all the benefits that I'm hoping for. Again, so far it's been great, but I really want to grow this business, if you will. The only way to grow a business is by delegating and knowing what you're good at, and like, you can't do everything there is to do. I think the other thing I'm really focused on is just like self-care. I feel like I have really done a good job so far, I think since moving here, of focusing on myself and saying no to things more, which sounds kind of negative. Most people would say like, I want to say yes to things more, but I want to say no to things more. Like, if I know I'm not going to have a good time, if I know I'm going to overextend myself by doing something, I just want to be able to set those boundaries, because I do feel bad sometimes, like saying no to people or prioritizing myself, or feeling like, oh, I should have done that because they did that and they went, and just like comparing myself to people in that way. But for my own like mental sanity and well-being, saying no to things more has already benefited me so much. Just knowing where I want to spend that time. I think as we get older, time just becomes more precious, and knowing who you want to surround yourself with, how you want to spend your time is really important, and does wonders for your sanity and well-being. And then there's stuff around the house that I want to make sure we get done. I'm really excited to get a backyard garden set up. Our goal is to have that done before summer. Our guy's like literally starting on the designs now, and then hopefully in a couple of weeks they can actually break ground and start working on it. So, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna get through today. Camera's literally blinking at me. I think it's gonna die any second. So this was fun. Thank you guys for spending time with me if you watched this video, and let me know what else you want to see from me in the comments. I feel like I love a weekly vlog, but I'm also trying to just think of other ways to bring you guys along what I'm doing here around the house. I do want to take on a few little projects here and there, so definitely be sure to document those. But thanks for watching. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.